Having autism means that the way that you communicate with the world is a little different from how a neurotypical person would communicate with the world. However, there are folks who don't know that they have autism, and because of this, they aren't able to put themselves in the best possible position to succeed. So let's talk about what undiagnosed autism could look like, and a few reasons as to why people don't get diagnosed in time. Number one, you struggle with depression and or anxiety for many years. I'm talking 3, 4, 5 years, sometimes even longer than a decade. You try different things, but for some reason, you don't feel better. If you're living with undiagnosed autism, there's a good chance that you felt like an outsider for years, and you've had a low mood and you've tried a variety of different things. The reason why you're not getting better isn't because you don't have depression or anxiety. It's primarily more so because there's something that's leading to that depression and anxiety, and we haven't caught that. And that could be the undiagnosed neurodivergence. An individual who judges themselves constantly because they feel like they're different from other people, they have a hard time articulating what they want to say, they have a hard time understanding their emotions. This is going to make you feel less than, and it's going to make you feel as if you're not worthy. If you struggle to understand yourself, other people, and you're confused socially, it can make it difficult for you to connect with people. And it's the lack of connection which causes this type of depression and anxiety. The way to improve connection is by having a better relationship with yourself, and in turn, you're going to have a better relationship with other people, and you won't apologize for the person that you are. Number two, you struggle to understand your emotions, and this makes it difficult for you to speak up for yourself because a lot of the times you don't know what you're feeling. And even if you do know what you're feeling, it's hard for you to articulate that to somebody else. So we call this sort of thing alexithymia. And if you have this, you probably have been in situations where somebody has asked you a question and you probably lied because you didn't know how you felt about a certain thing, or you didn't give an answer, but maybe a couple of days went by or a couple of weeks went by, and all of a sudden you finally understood how you feel about something or how you felt about that certain thing. Unfortunately, we live in a neurotypical society, which doesn't give us the most time to understand how we're feeling and to articulate ourselves. So if you're somebody who fits this description and you feel things on the back end, or you'll be in a situation where you wanted to say something, but you felt stuck, and then the next day, you know how you felt about that thing, you have to give yourself some grace, because if you don't know what's going on, or you know what's going on, but you just don't know how to say it, it can be very frustrating. Number three, a resistance to being touched. Now, this is the person who doesn't mind being touched by somebody that they like, somebody that they're comfortable with, somebody who might be their partner or a sibling or a close friend. However, what you don't like is being touched by people without a heads up or without a warning. And when you were a kid, this is probably the person who had to come out for Thanksgivings and holidays and birthday dinners, and you were being forced to hug your family members. And you didn't want to do it. So because of this, you got in trouble, and your parents thought that you were defiant, they thought that you were disrespectful, but you just didn't want anybody in your space. You didn't want to hug your uncle, not because you don't like your uncle, but more so because you want to feel autonomous. You want to feel like it's your decision to do certain things. And on top of that, who wants to be touched without a heads up? And number four, you're able to talk about a certain topic for hours on end without getting tired. This is more than likely your special interest. It's not a hyperfixation, it's a special interest. A hyperfixation is something that we enjoy, that we can spend many hours on, and at some point we'll get burnt out. So maybe you're hyperfixated on something for a couple of weeks, or maybe even a month. I'll give you a month. But a special interest is something that you love. And even if people don't like this particular thing, you don't care, because this is your thing. This could be somebody whose special interest is Pokemon, and they know every single thing about each city where you have to get a badge at, and they know how to defeat the Elite Four, and they know what happens afterwards, and they play all the different versions. This could be a person who's big into cars, and maybe specifically they like Ford. So they know everything about Mustangs, they know everything about Jeeps, they know everything about certain types of cars. Now, I'm not even sure if I'm saying it correctly, but when you have a special interest on a particular topic, when people ask you about that thing, nothing makes you feel better than getting that question, because now you're going to go off. You're going to tell them every single thing about this topic. And unless they stop you, you're probably not going to stop, because you genuinely enjoy this thing. And as a side note, and my final point, I will say, if you're an autistic person who finds a way to merge your special interest with what you do for a living, you have won. Because when you do something that feels like work to other people, but it feels like play to you, there's no way that you can be beat. There's just nothing better than that.